He posted, 100 likes and we'll break up. Within minutes, 99 people liked it. He was waiting for me to give in, to coax him again, just like the 8 times before. But this time, I was tired. So I quietly clicked the last like, and walked away without looking back. Main story. Jason, who had been giving me the cold shoulder, updated his status, 100 likes and I'll break up. Before long, it reached 99. I knew what he wanted. He was waiting for me to go to him, to coax him into admitting fault, to apologize like I had done 8 times before. But this time, I was exhausted. I silently gave that final like, completing the count and granting his wish to end things. From that day on, I unfollowed Jason and avoided crossing paths with him again. 10 days later, one of Jason's friends messaged me, he's been waiting for you to give in. Tomorrow's his birthday. Buy him a gift, celebrate with him, you'll be back together. I replied with only 2 flat words, no time. And I meant it. My flight to Hong Kong, to register at HKU, was leaving soon. Jason, just as you wanted, we'll never see each other again. After Jason allowed Elizabeth, the poor student sponsored by the Kano family, to change my college application without my permission, I lost my temper. But Jason didn't see a problem. He even thought I was being unreasonable. It was just a joke, he said. It's not like it can't be changed back. Elizabeth was in a bad mood, and I just wanted to cheer her up. She's fine now, you can just change it back. His casual tone made my voice tremble with disbelief. She can alter someone's college choices just because she's upset? Do you realize that's a crime? I have every reason to sue her. I already said it was me who told her to do it, Jason replied lazily. If you want to sue someone, sue me. It's nothing serious. Can't you just fix it? You're being childish, Emily. If you keep acting like this, I'll have to reconsider our relationship. Jason knew I couldn't live without him, and he often used that against me, threatening to break up whenever we argued. To be fair, we had been harmonious once. Until Elizabeth appeared. Since her arrival, we'd been fighting non-stop. This was the 9th time. And just like the 8 times before, Jason used break up as his weapon, while I, pathetically, chose to give in. He was certain I'd do the same again. After throwing out that threat, he waited for me to apologize, to beg for peace. But this time, I didn't. I sat there, watching him lecture me impatiently while smiling down at his phone, replying to Elizabeth's messages. Suddenly, I felt nothing but boredom. I refused to apologize and simply kept silent, expressionless. After waiting for a while and seeing no sign of surrender, Jason clicked his tongue, picked up his phone, and left. I stayed where I was, sitting quietly in front of the computer, staring at the blank screen. I don't know how long I sat there before my phone buzzed. A few voice messages came in. I opened them. Elizabeth's delicate voice floated out first. Is Emily still mad about that joke? Why don't you call her and tell her to come over? I'll apologize to her in person. Then came Jason's irritated tone, no need. If she wants to be angry, let her. I'm not her father, I don't have to spoil her all the time. Oh, Jason, don't say that, Elizabeth coaxed. Girls need to be comforted. If you act like this, she'll misunderstand, and you'll just push her further away. I don't have time to coax her. She really thinks too much of herself. If my grandfather hadn't forced me, I wouldn't have bothered taking care of her. She's clingy, always crying, she's been driving me crazy these past few years. A male voice joined in, it was Michael, Jason's friend. That's right. Emily's made of water, she cries over everything. I've never seen anyone so dramatic. Jason laughed. Exactly. Every time I mention breaking up, she cries and apologizes first. I'm sick of it. I hope she doesn't come to me again, maybe then I can finally get rid of her. Michael chuckled. Getting rid of Emily? Impossible. She's too clingy. I bet if you don't go back tonight, she'll show up crying tomorrow to apologize. Let's bet on it, the loser pays. That night, Jason didn't come home. And unlike before, I didn't call or text him to ask where he was. Since my parents passed away, Grandpa Kano had taken me into the Kano family. I studied and grew up alongside Jason. He had always protected me, standing up for me whenever I was bullied. We attended the same schools, elementary, junior high, and high school. I entered the Kano family when I was 8, and for the past 10 years, Jason had been part of my daily life. He even remembered my menstrual cycle, making brown sugar ginger tea for me when I had cramps, buying sanitary pads without embarrassment. We were so close it felt as though we were one person. Everyone joked that I was Jason's child bride, and he never denied it. After 10 years together, I had become completely accustomed to his presence. I couldn't imagine my life without him. I used to dream about our future, getting into the same university, graduating together, marrying, having children. I truly believed there would never be any misunderstanding between us. Unfortunately, Everything began to change after Elizabeth arrived, a poor student sponsored by the Kano family. She had approached Grandpa Kano during her second year of high school, tearfully begging for help. Her mother was seriously ill and needed nearly $1 million in medical expenses. She knelt down, kowtowing again and again, pleading with him to save her mother's life. Grandpa Kano, a generous and kind-hearted man, didn't hesitate. The family wasn't lacking money, and he agreed to fund the treatment. Elizabeth's mother received the care she needed, and Grandpa Kano, moved by Elizabeth's filial piety and hardworking nature, went a step further. He arranged for her to transfer to our school and even provided them with a rent-free home. At the time, both Jason and I were sympathetic. We often visited Elizabeth's mother together and helped Elizabeth with her schoolwork. The three of us got along, at least, that's what I thought, until that day. I went to the hospital to deliver chicken soup our housekeeper had prepared for her mother. As I reached the ward door, I overheard Elizabeth and her mother speaking in hushed tones. "Any progress with Master Kano?" her mother asked. "Jason seems to like me a lot," Elizabeth replied, "but Emily clings to him like a leech. I haven't been able to pull them apart yet." "Then hurry," her mother urged. "The Kano family is the wealthiest in North City. If you win over Jason, we can change our lives, live in a mansion, drive luxury cars, leave this pathetic, lowly existence behind." "Don't worry, Mom," Elizabeth whispered. "I'll definitely win Jason over." I gasped. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The shock must have made a sound because suddenly both of them turned toward the door, panic flashing across their faces. An unbearable discomfort rose in my chest. It dawned on me that their display of suffering, their pitiful story, might have all been a calculated performance to gain the Kano family's sympathy. I debated telling Jason the truth, but before I could, Elizabeth struck first. She asked to meet with me and, with tears brimming in her eyes, claimed it was all her mother's idea. Her mother, she said, was terminally ill and desperate to see her daughter married well before she died. It wasn't her plan, she only went along to avoid upsetting her mother. She knelt in front of me, begging me not to tell Jason. I hesitated, and then I gave in. I reached out to help her up. But the moment I touched her, she grabbed my hand, and pulled me into the lake. We had met in the park. I could swim and managed to drag myself to shore, calling for help immediately. Elizabeth, however, couldn't swim. She nearly drowned. Her lungs filled with water, and she was hospitalized for several days. When she woke up, she told everyone that I had pushed her in. She accused me of attempted murder, out of jealousy because Jason was helping her. Of course, I denied it. I told Jason the truth, Elizabeth had pulled me into the water on purpose. I thought he'd believe me. I was wrong. He looked at me, brow furrowed. "Emily, just be honest. Don't lie to me." "I'm not lying." I insisted. She pulled me down. But Jason didn't believe someone like Elizabeth would risk her life just to frame me. After all, she couldn't swim, and I could. "She must have known I'd call for help," I said. "Emily," Jason replied coldly, "just because you like me doesn't mean you get to frame other girls." He dismissed everything I said. Instead, he told me that a few days earlier, Elizabeth had come to him in tears, saying I hated her. Her mother, May, had even requested to move out of the Kano family's property, so as not to cause tension between me and Jason. They'd relocated to a tiny, rundown apartment. Grandpa Kano, confused, had asked May why. She replied vaguely, implying that I had been bullying Elizabeth out of jealousy. And just like that, their self-imposed exile became proof of their innocence. If I were to speak up now, it would only look like I was retaliating out of jealousy, trying to drive them away. Jason didn't believe me. In the end, Elizabeth and Maeve moved back to the original house. Jason called it compensation for the harm I had caused. I became the villain. The cold, calculating girl who bullied a poor, pitiful victim. I couldn't defend myself. I couldn't believe I'd been set up so completely by Elizabeth and May. I tried everything to prove they were two-faced manipulators. But no matter how hard I tried, they were always one step ahead. Elizabeth staged incident after incident. She was locked in the bathroom and blamed it on me. She had diarrhea during an exam and claimed I gave her milk laced with laxatives. How could someone as naive as me compete with a schemer like her? Still, I didn't stop trying. I had to find a way to expose her. Then she did something unforgivable. She stole and tore up the only photos I had left of my parents. I lost control. I slapped her. Jason saw it. And of course, that became the ultimate proof of my cruelty. He was beyond disappointed. And I was still trying to fix everything. I clung to Jason, trying to find any crack in Elizabeth's web of lies. But she was too good at this. I couldn't win. When she learned about the university I had applied to, the one Jason and I had agreed to attend together, she went even further. She snuck into my room and destroyed my admission ticket. Luckily, I discovered it in time and got it replaced. But that didn't make her any less despicable. She was vile. Shameless. On the surface, she played the poor, grateful girl with a dying mother who collected garbage for a living. But behind closed doors, she plotted everything. Maybe Jason liked her. Or maybe he just pitied her. I didn't know. All I knew was that he kept hurting me because of her. And I kept swallowing it. Apologizing. Begging. Even when it stripped away every ounce of my dignity. I didn't want to give up on Jason. I wanted him to see what kind of person Elizabeth really was, a two-faced, manipulative green tea, __. But nothing I did worked. I only pushed him further away. 10 years. Jason had been a constant in my life for 10 whole years. Letting go felt like ripping my heart out. So when he glared at me and said we were over, because of her, I gave in. Again. But this time, something shifted. After hearing the indifference in Jason's voice, in that voicemail he left with Elizabeth in the background, I finally saw it for what it was. He didn't mistrust me because Elizabeth was clever. He mistrusted me because he was tired of me. Because deep down, he wanted to get rid of me. So be it, Jason. You want me gone? Then I'll leave. I won't beg anymore. I won't fight for this relationship. And I certainly won't change my college application back. Instead of going to the university we'd agreed on, I made a call to the professor from HKU, who had previously reached out. Sir, I've made my decision. I'd like to accept your invitation to study in Hong Kong. He was delighted. You've made the right choice. Your case is special, we'll fast-track your paperwork and award you a high scholarship. You won't need to worry about tuition at all. After finalizing my change to HKU, I felt like I could finally breathe. That night, for the first time in a long time, I slept peacefully. After submitting my application to HKU, I finally felt like I could breathe. That night, I slept deeply, for the first time in a long while. I didn't care that Jason didn't come home. I didn't call to ask where he was. The next morning, I saw Elizabeth's post, young master got drunk. I looked after him all night. I'm exhausted. The attached photo showed Jason sound asleep, completely naked, in Elizabeth's bed, the bed in the house she shared with her mother. So, he had gone to her place. He had spent the night there. In her bed. My heart stung, but surprisingly, it hurt less than I expected. I got up, washed my face, got dressed, and left the house. When I returned, arms full of shopping bags, I opened the door to the sound of Elizabeth's sweet laughter echoing through the living room. She and Jason were sitting side by side on the couch, watching something on a tablet. As soon as they heard me enter, both of them turned. Jason glanced at me, then immediately looked away, cold and indifferent. Elizabeth stood up with a gentle smile. Emily's back. You bought so many things. Let me help you. She reached out, but I instinctively avoided her touch. She collapsed dramatically to the floor as if I had shoved her. Her body went limp, boneless. Jason shot up and rushed over. Without asking anything, he helped Elizabeth to her feet and glared at me. Emily, what is it now? Why did you push her? I didn't. Still denying it? Look at her, her burns. He was too busy comforting Elizabeth to even glance at me. He didn't notice that the soup hadn't spilled entirely on her, that I had been scalded too. He didn't notice that when he rushed past, he shoved me, knocking me to the ground, scraping my knees and back. The burns hurt. The abrasion stung. But none of it compared to the pain in my chest. Eventually, Jason led Elizabeth to her room to apply ointment. When he returned, he looked at me with frosty eyes and ordered, "Apologize." I looked up and met his gaze. 10 years of growing up together. 10 years of living side by side. And now, there was not a trace of tenderness in his eyes, only cold contempt. He continued, sharp and deliberate, "Elizabeth is kind enough not to hold it against you. As long as you apologize, this will all be over." "And if I refuse?" I asked. Jason's tone darkened. "Emily, are you challenging my bottom line? If you don't want to break up with me, then apologize. Now." He had once said he'd never leave me. Now, he was using breaking up as a threat, for Elizabeth. He was too sure I couldn't live without him. He thought I would fold like I always had. But this time, he was wrong. I stared him straight in the eye and said, slowly and clearly, "I will not apologize. Do whatever you want." Jason's face twisted in anger as he grabbed Elizabeth and stormed off. I left, too. The pain on my back and arms throbbed with every movement. I hailed a taxi to the hospital, where the doctor treated my burns, applied ointment, and handed me a prescription along with aftercare instructions. On my way home, my best friend called. "Emily, did you and Jason fight again?" "He's at the resort right now with Elizabeth and a bunch of friends. They're setting off fireworks for her." "Oh, and did you see his post?" "What post?" "He said, 100 likes and we're done. It's already at 99. I opened Jason's feed, and sure enough, there it was. A status in bold, want to break up? 100 likes and it's over. If not, I'm a grandson. 99 people had already liked it. I scrolled down, and my heart clenched. This wasn't the first time. Jason had posted the exact same message 8 times before. Each time, I had panicked, crying, apologizing, and begging him not to leave me. I'd surrendered my dignity just to keep him. But not this time. This time, I didn't call him. I didn't cry. I didn't ask him to take it back. Instead, I stared at the picture he'd attached, a beautifully lit plaza at the resort, fireworks bursting across the sky. A group of laughing young people gazed upward, dazzled. At the center stood Jason and Elizabeth, hand in hand. Their fingers interlocked. I blinked back tears. I remembered what Jason once told me, after the exams, I'll set off fireworks of love just for you, to announce our relationship to the world. But now, those fireworks were for her. I looked at the post one last time, and tapped like. The counter ticked to 100. The breakup was now official. I took a screenshot and closed the app. Surprisingly, I wasn't devastated. In fact, I felt relieved. Back at the Kano residence, I spent the night packing. I carefully boxed up every gift Jason had given me over the past decade. There were so many, they filled several boxes. We were done. There was no reason to keep them anymore. Before I left, I planned to return everything to him. Meanwhile, Jason sat waiting for my call, expecting the usual tearful reconciliation. But the call never came. Confused, he opened his post. There it was. 100 likes. The last one, from me. From me? He was stunned. How dare I? A firestorm of anger erupted in his chest. Just then, Elizabeth leaned in sweetly. Emily must be mad. She actually liked your breakup post. Their friends immediately opened the post to see. Exactly 100 likes. The final like, from Emily. Everyone turned toward Jason. His expression darkened. Several people panicked and quickly unliked the post. The count dropped below 100 again. But it was too late. The damage was done. Jason felt as if something was choking him, like a breath stuck in his chest. How could Emily do that? Did she really want to end things? He had given her an opening. If she'd just called, like before, he would have forgiven her. He could even overlook the soup incident, the fight with Elizabeth, everything. He had already planned to set off even grander fireworks just for her, to propose after graduation. But now? She liked the post. Publicly. Deliberately. As if to say, it's over. Jason couldn't believe it. Emily was an orphan. She'd lived with his family for 10 years. Where could she possibly go? He was sure she'd never leave him. She must be bluffing. This was just her way of acting out. Jason decided he wouldn't respond, not yet. He would wait. Let her stew a little. Let her realize she was wrong. She'd come crawling back. She always did. Jason didn't return that night. Nor did he return the following nights. Instead, he took Elizabeth on a trip. She posted dozens of updates each day, pictures of her and Jason wandering through ancient streets, climbing mountains, praying at mountaintop temples, walking hand in hand through firework-lit night markets, sipping milk tea together. Then came the bungee jumping photo. Jason held her tightly as they leapt from a high platform, their fingers interlocked. Her caption read, "This heartbeat is only for you." I stared at the post. Then, almost absently, I liked it. Moments later, every one of Elizabeth's lovey-dovey posts vanished. My phone rang. It was Michael, Jason's friend. "Emily, Jason's coming back tomorrow. Are you going to pick him up?" "Why would I?" I replied calmly. "We've broken up." "Come on. Don't be stubborn. We all know you haven't been doing great lately. Jason still cares about you. Tomorrow's his birthday. Just take the initiative. Swallow your pride. This could all be over. Everyone would be happy." "Everyone?" I scoffed. He was the one who initiated the breakup. I'm just following through. Jason's on a romantic getaway with Elizabeth. Why should I, the ex, show up at his birthday party? Besides, I'd already bought a plane ticket to Harbor City. I was leaving tomorrow. I didn't have time for his birthday. And before I could explain anything else, Michael hung up on me. The next day at noon, I left the Kano family home where I'd lived for 10 years, suitcase in hand, and headed to the airport. After checking my luggage, I walked toward the boarding gate, and bumped into Michael again. He immediately walked over. "Emily, you're here to pick up Jason? He's landing any minute." Before I could say a word, he pulled out his phone and dialed. "Jason, Emily's here at the airport to meet you." I said nothing. I simply brushed past him and headed straight to the check-in counter. I had a plane to catch. Whatever he said to Jason no longer concerned me. The moment Jason got off the plane, Michael called. "She's here. She came to pick you up." Jason's gloomy expression brightened instantly. He turned to Elizabeth, who was following closely behind. Take that corridor. Don't come out with me, I don't want Emily to misunderstand. A shadow flickered in Elizabeth's eyes, but she nodded obediently. Jason immediately called Michael again. Prepare roses. I'm giving them to her. He was already envisioning their reunion. He and Emily hadn't spoken in days, and he'd stubbornly waited for her to call him first. But she never did. This wasn't like her. Jason had deliberately orchestrated everything, the trip, the photos, the intimate updates, just to make her jealous. Just to push her into reacting. But after the bungee jumping post, she hadn't lashed out. She simply left a comment, "Congratulations." That had infuriated him. He'd forced Elizabeth to delete all the posts. He didn't want to provoke Emily anymore. He just wanted her back. He booked a return flight and asked Michael to remind her of his birthday, to bring her to the airport. Sitting on the plane, Jason felt uneasy. Something was slipping out of his control. But after hearing Michael's call, he finally relaxed. He told himself, this will be the last time. I'll never treat her like that again. After exiting through the VIP lane, Jason received the roses Michael had prepared at great cost and began looking for Emily. But she was nowhere to be found. He called her, but the line was busy. His frown deepened. Was she preparing a surprise? Every year, she gave him thoughtful birthday gifts. This time, after their long Cold War, maybe she'd planned something grand. But minute by minute, no one appeared. No gift. No Emily. He called again. This time, her phone was turned off. Frustrated, he glared at Michael. Where is she? Didn't you say she came to pick me up? Michael scratched his head, confused. I saw her. That's why I called. But, when I turned around after the call, she was gone. Jason's agitation spiked. He sent Emily a message, I know you're here. Stop hiding. Come out. No reply. Then behind him, a trembling voice whispered, Jason? I saw Emily. He turned sharply. Elizabeth stood there, tears pooling in her eyes, 5 red finger marks on her cheek and bloody scratches on her hand. Where is she? He demanded. Over there. Still angry, I think. When I greeted her, she cursed at me, slapped me several times, and insulted you too. Said you were shameless. Elizabeth opened her phone and played a recording. It was my voice. Don't talk to me about trash. Trash belongs in the trash can. Both of you, lock yourselves away. Stop polluting the world. Jason's jaw clenched. Veins popped on his forehead. Where is she now? I don't know. She hit me, scratched me, then stormed off. The audio continued playing, I'm a clean freak, I hate filth. Since Jason's already slept with you, just marry him. Don't ever show your face in front of me again. Jason exploded. He threw the bouquet of roses on the ground and stomped on them. Then he stormed out of the airport. I hadn't expected to run into that woman again. Elizabeth caught me outside, blocking my path, her tone venomous. Emily, you're truly disgusting. You already broke up with Jason, and you still try to crawl back. Excuse me? I asked, eyebrows raised. Who told you I was trying to get back with him? Then what are you doing at the airport? Leaving, I replied. Unlike some people, I don't make scenes to get attention. Elizabeth smirked. You know, everyone's betting on how low you'll go. Jason's breakup post already hit 100 likes, and you're still hanging on. Pathetic. Honestly, you're the most shameless person I've ever met. Jason and I have been together every single day. Please don't come, she prayed silently. Please don't ruin this for me. And for once, her wish was granted. Emily, who used to love Jason with everything she had, didn't show up. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Then 4. Jason stared at his watch, lips tight. Finally, he muttered, let's start. Michael hesitated. Why don't we call her first? She's never missed your birthday before. Jason nodded stiffly. Michael dialed. After several rings, the call connected. Emily's cold, detached voice echoed clearly through the private room. We've broken up. From now on, I want nothing to do with Jason. Elizabeth's eyes sparkled with triumph. Jason's foot lashed out, kicking over the expensive wine bottles arranged to spell out, Happy Birthday. Red wine, worth millions, soaked the carpet. The club manager scrambled to change the venue. The birthday party continued, but Jason, the guest of honor, remained silent. Eventually, someone suggested a game of truth or dare. The loser had to kiss someone of the opposite sex. Jason lost. Michael pushed Elizabeth toward him. Come on, pick someone. Pose for the camera. As they stood close, Michael filmed it and immediately sent the video to Emily. Everyone watched, waiting. Surely she'd burst through the door to stop them, like before. But half an hour passed. And Emily never came. Michael tried calling Emily again, but her phone was turned off. Jason didn't kiss Elizabeth. Instead, he sat there drinking one glass after another, silent and brooding. By the end of the night, he was completely drunk, so much that he couldn't even stand. They carried him upstairs to a private room to sleep it off. Elizabeth stayed behind, pretending to be worried. "I'll take care of him," she told the others sweetly. "He's had too much." When the guests finally left, only two people remained, a passed-out Jason and Elizabeth. From her purse, she took out a small bottle of spray, something her mother, May, had bought at great expense. It was said that inhaling it could make someone excited. Her hands trembled slightly as she sprayed it over Jason's face several times. A few minutes later, Jason stirred. His eyes opened, unfocused, hazy. Then, suddenly, he grabbed her. Elizabeth screamed softly and pretended to resist. But within moments, she was half struggling, half clinging to him, and they rolled together onto the bed. When Jason woke up the next morning, his head pounded. He lay there staring blankly at the ceiling, his mind foggy, until something felt wrong beside him. He turned his head. Elizabeth was lying next to him, completely naked. Jason shot upright. "What the hell are you doing here?" Elizabeth blinked, feigning confusion. Her eyes welled up instantly. "You drank too much last night. You forced me." She squeezed out a few tears, hoping to look pitiful. But before she could finish, Jason's hand came down hard across her face. The sharp crack echoed through the room. "You scheming little bitch." The slap was so fierce her cheek swelled instantly. This wasn't part of her plan. She'd expected Jason to be shocked, maybe even guilty, to think he'd lost control under the influence of alcohol. She had rehearsed exactly how to act, trembling, tearful, pitiful. She'd been ready to tell him she didn't blame him, to make him feel both remorse and responsibility. But Jason didn't even ask questions. He hit her. Then grabbed her hair and snarled, "Tell me the truth. What did you use on me?" Elizabeth shook her head violently. "No. I didn't use anything." "Look at you," he spat. "You think I'd sleep with someone like you willingly?" Jason was seething. He and Emily had promised each other that their first time would belong only to one another. No matter how many times Elizabeth had tried to tempt him before, he had restrained himself, dismissing her flirtations as harmless admiration. He'd even enjoyed her devotion in a distant way, letting her fawn over him like a maid attending her master. But this was different. Now that it had happened, disgust burned through him like acid. Elizabeth, that lowly, conniving girl, had stolen what was supposed to be his and Emily's. It was unforgivable. He couldn't accept that he'd touched her. He couldn't accept that she'd planned this. He dragged her up by the hair. "You drugged me, didn't you?" he roared. "You dared use tricks on me." He slapped her again, then kicked her. Elizabeth screamed, crying and begging, but Jason's rage only grew stronger. To him, this wasn't just betrayal, it was contamination. It felt as though a pure, noble lady had been defiled by a filthy criminal. "You schemed against me," he shouted, punching her again. "You should have looked in the mirror before trying something like this. You think you're worthy?" His fury was merciless. Only then did Jason truly understand what Emily had meant when she'd called Elizabeth and her mother trash. He had believed their lies, thought Emily was being jealous and narrow-minded, but now the knife was in his back. He wanted to slap himself for being blind. Instead, he took out all that rage on Elizabeth. He punched and kicked until she fell to the floor, her face bloodied, her nose bleeding, her body trembling. When she realized screaming was useless, she began begging him to stop. But he didn't stop until she lay motionless, crying softly on the carpet. Panting, Jason finally stepped back. "This isn't over," he said coldly, pulling out his phone. He called Michael. "That bitch schemed against me. She actually drugged me." Michael, awakened by the call, froze in disbelief. "Wait, you and Elizabeth slept together? Oh my God, Jason. What are we going to do?" Jason's voice was grim. "Emily can never find out. If she knows, she'll never forgive me. We have to bury this. Understand?" He looked down at Elizabeth, who was lying limp like a pile of rags. "If Emily ever hears about this, you and your mother are dead." Elizabeth's entire body shook. She nodded desperately. "I won't tell. I swear, I won't tell anyone, not even if I die." Jason spat at the sight of her. Then turned and left. Outside, he called his family's bodyguards. "Investigate Elizabeth. Everything, her and her mother. Right now." He was trembling, not just from anger but from fear. He was sure now, Elizabeth hadn't done this out of affection. She had planned it, for some other purpose. He would never marry her. Not in this life. He had to make sure she and her mother disappeared, quietly, permanently. Better to spend money to send them away than to let this explode. But above all, he had to make sure Emily never found out. Jason rushed home. The housekeeper was cleaning the living room, but Emily was nowhere to be seen. He frowned. Hasn't Emily gotten up yet? The woman looked startled. Miss Emily isn't home. Not home? Where did she go? I'm not sure, young master. I think she went to school. School? Registration hasn't even started yet. I don't know the details, the housekeeper stammered. She left yesterday with several large suitcases. Said she was going to study, and that she wouldn't be coming back. The words made Jason's chest tighten. He ran upstairs, taking the steps 3 at a time, and burst into Emily's room. It was spotless. In the center were several large boxes neatly stacked. On top lay a single folded note. He walked over, hands shaking, and picked it up. Jason, these are all the gifts you've given me. I'm returning them to you. He recognized her handwriting instantly. Every loop and stroke was painfully familiar. But he couldn't understand what she meant. She had packed up everything from the past 10 years, and left. His mind refused to process it. Or maybe, he already understood, but didn't want to admit it. He grabbed his phone and dialed her number again and again. The line was busy. After several failed attempts, realization hit him like a brick. She had blocked him. Panicking, he rushed downstairs, borrowed the housekeeper's phone, and called again. This time, the call went through. Auntie? Do you need something? Came Emily's calm voice. It's me, Jason said quickly. Where are you right now? She frowned at the sound of his voice. Jason, we've already broken up. Where I am isn't your concern, is it? Who said we broke up? I don't agree to that. You don't agree, she replied coldly. You were the one who posted the breakup yourself. 100 likes, remember? I even took a screenshot. Everyone saw it. Besides, she added quietly, you and Elizabeth have been inseparable these past few days. Isn't that explanation enough? Emily, there's nothing between Elizabeth and me. You don't have to explain your relationship with her, I interrupted coldly. We're already over. What you do with her has nothing to do with me. Jason stared at me, hurt. Emily, how can you be so heartless after all the years we spent together? I truly didn't understand what he meant. We had broken up ages ago, was he out of his mind? How dare he come here and question me? I was beyond annoyed. After everything he'd done, after tossing his promises aside like they meant nothing, treating me like a joke to be played with, he still thought he had the right to question me? No one forced him to chase after Elizabeth. No one told him to humiliate, berate, or hurt me for her sake. When he shoved me to the ground because of her. When he posted that breakup status to please her. When he lit up the whole city with fireworks for her. When they traveled the world together, hand in hand. Did he really think I'd just sit there waiting for him to come back, like I had no pride at all? He clearly overestimated himself, and underestimated my self-respect. Jason, I said flatly, you made your choice. You're with Elizabeth now. Then treat her well. My voice dropped into a whisper. Or are you going to tell me, you never slept with her? His silence was answer enough. Before last night, he might have boldly denied it. But now, he hesitated, clearly weighed down by guilt. I let out a cold laugh. You want it both ways? That's what disgusts me most about you. His voice trembled. Where are you, Emily? Where are you now? We agreed we'd go to college together. Auntie said you've already started classes, tell me it's not true. Yes, we did agree to attend the same university. But he changed my application, behind my back, just to make Elizabeth happy. And I didn't even bother to change it back. Why should I? Emily, don't scare me, he pleaded. I was wrong. Please tell me where you are. I'll apologize, I'll admit everything. I'll do whatever you want. It's not necessary, Jason, I said quietly. Not every apology deserves forgiveness. From the moment Elizabeth falsely accused me and you chose to side with her, this outcome became inevitable. So please, stop clinging. Let this end. I hung up. Jason called again, but I didn't answer. He called a third, fourth time, I kept rejecting his calls. Panicked, he began scrambling to find out where I'd gone. He even arranged to have someone check my flight records. Meanwhile, Elizabeth's mother, May, stormed into the Cano family villa uninvited. Dragging along Elizabeth, her face bruised and swollen from the slap Jason had given her, May glared at him with venom. Young Master Cano, you owe my daughter an explanation, she demanded. Jason said nothing, but old Mr. Cano had already begun digging into everything concerning May and Elizabeth. He even called me personally to ask what had happened. I told him everything, their lies, their manipulations, their plan. Old Mr. Cano had seen countless people like them in his years of business. Did they think they could fool him? May and Elizabeth were still dreaming of wealth and luxury, but they had no idea the Cano family had already launched a full investigation. May wasn't some fragile woman abandoned by an abusive husband. She was a shameless gold digger, driven into hiding by the legal wife, taking her illegitimate daughter, Elizabeth May, along for the ride. Elizabeth may have had good grades, but she was on the verge of dropping out due to unpaid tuition, until the Cano family sponsored her through their charitable foundation. That's when May's scheme began. She and Elizabeth carefully orchestrated everything so they could approach the Cano family under the guise of needing help. But the Cano family had done charity work for years. They had never encountered someone as brazen as May. The cost of medical treatment was insignificant to them, so no one had verified whether May was truly ill. Originally, all she wanted was money. But then she saw Jason, and everything changed. If Elizabeth could hook him, it would be their shortcut to success. And so it began. The mother-daughter duo set a trap. I was supposed to be the fool who fell into it. Jason didn't believe me. He believed them. And they carried out their plan, step by step. But the Cano family wasn't easily deceived. Within days, they'd tracked down the person who had bought the illegal drugs for May. The case was turned over to the police. May and Elizabeth thought they'd walk away with $100 million. What they got instead was a visit from law enforcement, and a pair of handcuffs. They were arrested on multiple charges: extortion, drug procurement, and criminal harm. The law would deal with them now. Half a year later, I saw Jason again, this time, at HKU. The Elizabeth scandal hadn't gone fully public, but everyone in our circle had heard about it. It had ruined his reputation. He wasn't the same person anymore. Jason apologized to me. Admitted everything. I accepted his apology. But I didn't plan on keeping in touch. 10 years together, destroyed by a girl he'd only known for one. No matter how many times he swore he'd treat me better, I couldn't trust him again. This world has taught me one thing: never place blind faith in anyone. Only you can save yourself. That's the truth I learned the hard way. Now, thanks to a generous scholarship from HKU, I have only one goal: study. I don't want to rekindle anything with Jason. I don't want a new relationship. I don't even want to look back. Men will betray you. Friends will betray you. But knowledge never will. What you learn will serve you for life.